Hello, it's me, Shay again. I'm filming this immediately after my video on who is a misogynist and how to identify if you or someone that you know is. Um, all right, so my next subheading it says, where does this mentality come from? Um, all right, first and foremost, this is misogyny is a learned behavior. It doesn't come naturally. It is taught through um, through nurture. Um, so, all right. So, if you resonate with a lot of the beliefs in the previous video, you probably learnt this mentality from what was modeled in front of you. So, fathers, uncles, brothers, men that you respect and have put on a pedestal, um, or women who are have been sold the mentality and have conformed to it. Uh, how it is modeled to you when you're growing up, or in society, or maybe you weren't even born into that mentality, and maybe later on you were exposed to it. That can also affect your psyche. So it's essentially it's from socialization. um, okay, that's the first thing. um, Sorry, my bad. I had to pause you for a second. Secondly, a lot of our culture is misogynistic. Even when we are abusing men, we use words such as female fucker, or a female character, and then like sexual violence against them. That's a lot of our abusive language is also targeting women for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Women learn this behavior too, and sometimes they're convinced of this as the norm, and so women also perpetuate this mentality, the misogynistic mentality. Like, for example, say mother-in-laws expecting women to brush aside their agency, leave their jobs, stay at home, cover their bodies after marriage. This is also something that happens. You might say that it's completely acceptable if a woman is choosing to do so, but the reality is that they too are learning what is appropriate and what is not appropriate to do. So even a choice that is made can be made within a misogynistic mentality, and that's not a good choice. That's not a choice that a woman is making based on what is good for her. It's what she believes that she should do. All right, so all right, the third point. So the first point was it's a learned mentality. Second point was women also perpetuate this. The third point is that sometimes misogyny can be developed when a single woman hurts your feelings as a man. So, say for example, when you were younger, you got bullied by a child, a girl, maybe an older girl, or maybe a beautiful girl, or someone who you cared about deeply, or who was better than you in some way, that you felt was better than you in some way. Maybe she treated you really poorly. Maybe you had some amount of public humiliation. Maybe she frightened you when you were younger, and that kind of changed the way that you see all women. Maybe you had a bad breakup, and this woman particularly, she was like really bad, and like it took a toll on you. Maybe you got cheated on. Maybe you find that women at work are getting more opinionated, and you feel like you get less limelight, and you feel more insulted. um, this It's important to draw your attention to the fact that feminism isn't the thing to blame. Feminism has only brought, say for example, men are up here and women are here. Feminism has not brought men down. Feminism has simply put women right up here when it comes to rights, opinions, and so on. It's not about switching the roles and putting women above men. Feminism has never been about that. Anyone who preaches that feminism is not preaching feminism, they're preaching feminazism, which any uh, critically capable woman will acknowledge, that we don't want to switch it like this. We just want there to be like a free flow of energy where both um, both of these particular genders are not pitted against each other, they just flow together, um, like a yin and yang. All right, so maybe the third point was maybe that you had like a soft corner for a specific woman, or she treated you really poorly, and naturally you developed this mentality that all women were this bad. Maybe you started to scrutinize women and find certain points and cherry pick certain behaviors in women, um, in your surroundings, and you went like, okay, this proves XYZ have these behaviors, so this proves that every woman in the world has these behaviors. um, I don't need to tell you how that's a problem, because the world is full of women. Like 50% of the population is women. um, okay, moving on. All right, this is an interesting one. So sometimes hatred towards women starts off as jealousy. So it could also develop when, in a male or even in a female sometimes, when women are, or females or girl children are given favorable treatment, and you as a male are not treated as kindly, as gently as women are. Females have historically been considered the weaker sex, and so women have not been treated with as much harshness, sternness, aggression that men have. Women don't like that either. Women don't want men to be treated poorly. Ask any woman how she feels about her friend, her brother, her father, her uncles being treated poorly, maybe being hit. You will instantly find that a woman is extremely sympathetic, because no one deserves to be treated badly. Anyway, so this might start off as jealousy, and then eventually resentment builds and builds and builds and becomes hatred. So you might also hate women because you feel that they are given more benefits, undue benefits. Okay. Another reason that this one's a bit difficult for me to say, but another reason that these belief systems are formed are when mother figures or women that you really really value and respect have to be in circumstances where they are coupled with men. And for Indian boys, young boys in conservative culture, it's very difficult to wrap your head around the fact that a man may be having physical relations with a woman that you are super protective about, super defensive about, and super respectful for. You feel a sort of possession towards that woman, and so it feels really disgusting, and it feels like repulsive almost to you, that this woman that you respect and that you consider a mother has to do all these things and is being used and is being it feels dirty somehow. And so when you see women that you respect in this position where she's being used, because also traditionally in India we do consider sex very dirty, and very like kind of disgusting, and some form of like defiling a woman. So you think that it's disgusting of this woman, and you lose respect for her, and you feel angry and you feel aggressive towards her, and you yourself start to feel like, oh my god, she's like a slut or a whore. And it brings shame to you, and maybe your friends and other men talk about this woman poorly, and you feel really insulted, but it comes from a place of protectiveness that has pushed to the point of like it just being not rational. Like the misogynist's feeling towards women, the anger is not rational at a certain point. After a certain point, you start hating the woman that you respected because she embarrasses you and your pride. And lastly, it also develops when watching mainstream media and the physical intimacy industry content, such as OnlyFans and so on. This is because we're very rarely exposed to a female body except in a sexual context. So, when you're only exposed to, say, breasts or female genitalia in a way that is depictive of pleasure, and we've already acknowledged that pleasure is not considered a clean thing, a clean concept in Indian and conservative culture, we start associating the female body with dirt, with filth, um, and only sex. And so it's a problem because we can't acknowledge that the biological functions, which are basically to eat, shit, piss, sleep. Sorry, my bad. I had to address something. Um, right. So when we're exposed to the female body only in the context of sex and pleasure, we're not able to acknowledge that a woman's shoulders or a woman's knees or even a woman's thighs are just not sexual. So it becomes very confusing to us. And the reality is the primary function of a woman's body is to eat, shit, drink, piss, and sleep. Sexual functions are a secondary function and they're not essential to being alive. And so every organ and every body part that a woman has is not for sex. It is for other things, and sex happens to be one of the small lesser functions of the human body, of the female human body, just as it is for males as well. Okay, so in women, older women train younger women to adhere to these traditional beliefs, such as women should stay at home or women should cover their bodies, etc. Women should give birth to children by a certain age. Women should be hidden. And these things actually get dumber. Like, for example, women should not be seen eating in public. Women should not cry in front of people. Women should not express that, they're in pain, physical pain or whatever, because why their husbands come home from work, so why should you don't want to burden your husband. Women should not stay at their parents' house for too long. Women should pay for childbirth and hospital bills, and it goes on and on. In fact, women are very exposed to misogynistic mentalities. But the difference is that we're in a unique position where, as a woman, we realize how unfair this treatment is because it feels really bad to us when we are being forced to fit within this framework, as opposed to men who don't realize the lived experience and how it impacts your day to day, your feelings, your mental health. So women are in a unique position, and so it's easier to use ourselves as a frame of reference and to remove ourselves from these unreasonable guidelines. And we develop empathy also, obviously, because we know how it feels. And so then we also help other younger women, to not fit within these unreasonable expectations. And we also realize that older women, that's why we don't romanticize our women, our mothers, our grandmothers, and so on. We don't romanticize their struggles like, oh my gosh, she had like 6 children. Yeah, 6 children is crazy to put your body through. When a man could have just like not just used condoms, or like not, you know, you know what I mean. So it's easier for us to unlearn these mentalities and these rules and become less misogynistic over time. We also are exposed to a lot of variations of women, and not just the ideal form, which is the soft, gentle, quiet, polite woman. We get to see all the way from that ideal woman to the highest degree of woman as well, which is like not the highest degree as in not worthwhile, not worthwise highest, but like the far end of the spectrum, which is the exact opposite, which is like, I don't give a shit, I hate men, this, that. We see those, and we see the super submissive women, but we also see the various degrees between these two. And that's where the majority of women lie. Women are not on opposite ends of the spectrum. So we get to see like curiosity, we get to see artistic women, we get to see intelligent women, we get to see crazy women, we get to see super loyal, super friendly, we get to see women who are introverted to the point where they can't even stand in public, they don't even show up out of the house. We see all variations of these women, and we see mothers, we see women who don't want to be mothers, and everyone has their reasons, and the reason is that that feels good to them. It's not because women are bad or women are good. It's an individual case by case basis every single time. And once men are able to acknowledge that there are nuances and there are subtleties in the entire range of women, it'll be easier for misogynists to separate from this black and white thinking. So yeah, it is easier for women to release these preconceived notions from our minds, because we have an idea of what is the reality versus what we are told women are. So yeah, okay. In my next video, I'm going to discuss how do you fix a misogynist. If you identify as a misogynist, how do you get better? Or if you know someone who's a misogynist, how do we help them move forward? All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, I love you.